welcome to the Energy of Manifestation podcast. We are back this week with a fabulous guest, Celeste Pennington. She is an intuitive guide, conscious creator, and is currently joining us from the beautiful country of Mexico with her traveling family. They have been traveling. I can't believe it's been 6 months.
Yeah,
Like,
I
that's
know.
crazy.
It
Um,
is. It's gone by so fast.
yeah. So welcome to the podcast.
So excited to be here.
Yeah. So as my listeners know, we very much drive by intuition, and Celeste and I were just chatting previously, like before we hit record, about the new earth and the awakening of the planet. And so I'm just going to lead right in because now you've got my interest peaked and I want to hear more. um you were also sharing how, like, you're finally brave enough to speak about this. So maybe, like, before we get into there, you can share, like, how, like, why the time is now that, like, you're ready, or what you've been doing to just let it all hang out, so to speak.
I know there's so much there. There's
Yeah.
so much
Yeah.
there. So why don't I'll give you a little backstory of how I even arrived at this point, because I've been on a mindset journey for about 10 years. Leslie and I are both familiar with Bob Proctor's teaching of thinking into results. And it was basically the start of what changed my life.
Uh-huh.
And my biggest thing that happened during that was understanding the power of imagination. That changed everything for me. When I understood that we are not our five senses, but we are these creators of everything that happens in this world. What we see right now, the chairs we're sitting on, the computers we're talking through, everything was in someone's mind before we're able to use it. So with that, when I finally learned about that, I went on this entrepreneurial journey. I came up with a kids product, and I've also been able to manifest now things in my life. Like, I've kind of been on this journey. I think mostly it was about with the family. So manifested moving across the country, manifested living in our dream home in the Okanagan, manifested a job that paid me more than I'd had. I just kept manifesting and manifesting, but it was always within the realms of the family. And then even last year, we had a dream to move abroad. Didn't quite know what that looked like, but just over a year ago, we made the decision to basically let's sell everything we own and move to Costa Rica, or at least discover Costa Rica first. So we've been in Costa Rica for 6 months. Now we're in Mexico, and we still don't even have concrete plans on what comes after this. We just know that we're going to keep following the whims of our heart and see what happens. So with that, I think my focus always was like, I have been growing so much during these last 10 years. I have paid for coaches. I have done so much mindset work and embodied it and done it, but I hadn't really, self-limiting belief is coming up a lot for me, where I hadn't really done it when it came to me. So the work that's been happening for me in the last year has finally been about, what do I personally want? And what does that look like for me in terms of success, and allowing myself to also maybe have success. So in the last year, even with that, I had been even ignoring, like, I know this material inside and out. I know about matching our frequency toward our desired state. It's shown up in example over example in my life. I know how it works. And people started, even with my travels, started reaching out and being like, Celeste, how did you do it? How are you doing it? And I've been doing these Zoom calls with people, just sharing what I know and what I've been doing. And then I go ahead and refer them to other people. Oh, you want to get a new job and you want to look into being a financial advisor? I know someone for that. Oh, You want to work on your mindset. I know someone for that. Like, I have been referring everybody somewhere else. And I'm also currently with our own, because as we grow and expand, it's always important to, we're currently, me and my husband are also with a husband and wife team, actually, where we're working on our undoing ancestral patterns, blocks, karmic, reading Akashic records, and we're now tapping into our spiritual side. We've done our minds.
Yeah.
Now we're doing spiritual. And so this particular coach said to me, she goes, why do you keep thinking that these people don't deserve to be under your wings? And that was a big question for me. And so that was kind of January, February, where I've been sitting with that. And it was just, it was self-worth and self-limiting beliefs for sure. And it made me realize the minute I kind of let go, thinking, why not me? Because if we don't step into our own gifts, if we don't do that, we're almost like blocking a dam. We're almost like blocking the people that need to hear it from us.
Yeah.
And then they can't get what they need to do what they need to do for also the people in their lives.
Yeah.
So by us not stepping into our gifts, we're like holding it up. And it just came so clear. And I was like, of course, there's people that do need to hear it from me, that I will resonate with certain people that need my gifts from me so that they can then learn their gifts, so that they can then learn their gifts. And the torch continues, right? And we spread light across this planet. So the minute it just came to me, I was like, okay, I'm ready.
Yeah.
I'm stepping into the ring. I'm more than excited and able to help people. I'm looking forward to it. It's just the start. But with that being said, it also meant I had to start speaking my truth. So I'm finally also, I don't know, it's like somehow the confidence shifted. I felt braver. I've battled a lot of fear of judgment of people that have been in my life and what they would think of. I've been someone that's played a role for people in relationships. I've played safe. I've been a people pleaser, and I've been who they needed me to be, not who I was. So I think the big shift has been me recognizing that when I start to be who I am and recognize who I am and embody it authentically, that I have to allow the others to either be with me or not with me, and let go of the judgment that comes from that. But it was definitely the fear of judgment of family and friends, 100%. Who does she think she is? That had been a year, my whole lifetime built upon that narrative, right? Yeah. Who does she think she is? So I'm now speaking about the new earth and what I believe is currently happening right now and where I think we're going, and feeling brave enough to speak in those terms because the new earth is somewhere we've never been before.
Yeah.
So it's going to be new, and it's going to feel strange to people, and it's going to feel like you're crazy, Celeste. But yet that's how we get there, is by being the leaders to use our imagination to envision the world we want to get to, because we are the conscious creators of this.
Yes.
And so if we all get to
so beautiful.
So that's a little bit about the backstory.
Yeah. And there's so much that I can relate to there, like especially of the judgment piece. And like as I was doing my own work through the eclipse that just happened, there was a piece I'm choosing to release that. And that brought up emotions. And I was like, oh, wow, I did not realize that I was still holding back from being my true self because of what other people might think. And so, yeah,
Well, isn't it, with that though being said, because you and I know mindsets so much. So in our minds, we're like, I don't care what anyone thinks. Like my mind tells me I don't. But what I hadn't released yet was the energetic blocks yet. So there was still stuff in my field. There was still energetic blocks sitting in my field that we're still tied to patterns in this life and previous lives. And so
Yeah.
until I let those patterns go and release them from my field, then it's like my mind matched my heart, then, you know what I mean? And then brought
Yeah.
me into alignment.
All the
And so
dominoes
that's
just
kind of
fell
in
together.
tandem. We need to do both.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. For sure, for sure. So good. So good. So, what are you seeing for the new earth? What's the big visions that are coming down the pipeline?
Well, it's interesting because when I awoke
Mhm.
to the power that we are and what we're really here on this earth to do, I jumped straight into this 3D, 5D narrative. I didn't quite understand. And I listened and tuned into a lot of people again before us and what that meant. So I was like, the world's technically split. They physically split. They like, what does this look like? Like
Mhm.
really trying to get a handle on physically what that looks like.
Mhm.
So what I've learned is that this is more of a frequency split. This is more of living in different realities depending on your frequency. And living in that frequency is also your consciousness. So, how much work have we done to raise our consciousness?
Yep.
Which is what we're already said. It's the
Mhm.
mindset, it's the
Yep.
limiting beliefs, it's the paradigms, it's the shadow work, it's releasing the energetic blocks. The minute we do that, we raise our consciousness.
Yep.
And what happened to me, even in travels, is I, there were moments where I truly felt like I'd actually been on heaven on earth. Like there was moments of such bliss and such joy and such pure love for that moment that I know what it feels like. And in that place, I feel that all of us, I feel that that world exists and we're all on our way there. And it comes and it is led by love. It is led when we understand who we are. We are souls in
Yeah.
this meat suit. And when we take away it, because it's not just about striving. You don't, the striving actually can bring resistance. It's actually about the letting go of who we think we are and who we think we're supposed to be,
Yes.
which is a construct of the 3D. They built that to keep us low.
And small.
So,
Yeah.
yes. So, when we understand how powerful we are with our hearts and with our minds, and when we're in all alignment, we live in a life where we can actually create any reality we want. And I believe that I see that world as one when we're all within our true essence and in alignment. We communicate with each other in a different style because we all see each other. We're all sitting in authenticity.
Yeah.
There's no masks. It's like, I see you and I only want the best for you.
Yeah.
And I see you and I only want the best for you.
Yeah.
Because that's how we all stay in this beautiful reality. And I know that reality is coming. The current reality actually has to crumble. It can't be fixed. We can't put a band-aid on it. It actually needs to crumble. So we have to release also what we're witnessing in the world right now, because it does need to happen.
Yeah.
It's okay to be informed, but we can't be sucked into what they're doing because they're going down one timeline.
Yeah.
So we need to take our energy and focus on what do we want to see and what do we want to create and how do we want that to look. And the more of us that have these conversations together and the more of us that get clear on what that looks like, because we know how powerful we are as one being, let alone when there's two, multiple, we create that reality. And it's the earth's time. We have swung the pendulum. It is time for now to live in heaven on earth. It is the earth's time. It's Gaia's turn. It's all of ours. And we also chose to be here. So everybody here right now on earth chose to be here at this time. And that took me a while to wrap my head around because it's not easy.
That
This
is,
is, right?
yeah, that is one of my fastest ways to connect to gratitude is
Mm.
I am so grateful that my children chose me to
Mhm.
be their mother. Like that is my
Yes.
fastest route to gratitude when I want to connect to gratitude. Yeah.
Yeah. And me too. Like, oh, and I chose to be here. So I don't need to be in fear. I don't need to be scared.
No.
I chose I chose this. And so we chose to be here for expansion, to be here to help this earth. And so I see that earth as a place where I see the schooling and our children looking like a place where there's still some of the same teachings that we do now, but it's more based on bringing out of the individual what makes you happy, what brings you joy, who are you, recognizing them as a soul. And
Yeah.
so as they grow up, they contribute to society in whatever they authentically feel good about. Because when we feel good, we're not we're not in hate. We're not
Yeah.
you know, taking our anger out on other people. We're coming from a different state because we're content. Mental
Mhm.
health goes away when we're in a place of contentment and peace and authenticity of who we are. And so I see the schooling of the children is bringing that up. But I also, with that, there's no, I don't see like how a doctor and a lawyer are the pinnacle of today's society because it's attached to money.
Right.
I see that everyone has value.
Yeah.
So whether that is someone like, you know what brings me joy? I love to crochet. I love to crochet pot holders. It brings me so much joy. And that person has just as much value
Yeah.
as the person that might be the one stitching up your organs.
Yeah.
And because when we're all feeling and coming from a place of authenticity and heart, then we all value everybody's contribution. And if we ever also do have someone in that society that is maybe broken down with the physical body or something has happened, we don't let them fall.
Yeah.
We only support everybody as the collective. So that's one of my visions
Yeah.
for the new earth is how we all contribute to it.
Mhm.
And how that keeps us also in a place of high frequency of love and integrity and ease and joy.
That just sits so well in my heart right now. Like it's just peaceful. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, yeah, that is absolutely incredible. So
Well, and
how,
our old mind would tell us, well, that's impossible
yeah.
because we've been built off of what we think to be true right now.
Mhm.
And so with and so back to even imagination, we need all of us using our imagination to visualize what do we want and what would that look like because we know that it comes into existence as a form. But our minds, isn't it something like we're only even using 2% of it? Like think about if we were using 40% of
Yeah.
what we thought could be possible to create that. And also our imagination also gets limited to what we know right now in our physical world.
Mhm.
And so if we can just get still and let go of what we know to be true now and daydream of all the possibilities of what we want to see, and then we start talking about it and we start sharing about it and we start doing it together,
Yeah.
it's coming because the split has coming. The new earth is on its way. And from what I hear too, we can either, it can take 50 years to create or it could take 10. And it all depends on how organized we are.
Wow.
So now is the time for us all to be stepping into who we are and into our gifts so we
Mhm.
can all find one another and co-create it together.
And this is why we are here together. Yeah, this is why we were paired because it's so interesting the divine synchronicities of like what draws us together. It's like a magnet and we are
Mhm.
able to find each other sort of effortlessly. And it's the universe's way of guiding us back home, guiding us together.
Yeah. Finding one another. I don't believe in coincidence anymore. So
No.
it's so funny too sometimes when I run into people because I'm always like, did you call me in or did I call you in? Or maybe
Mhm,
we both called each other in. Like, you never know. And like, so even where we are right now, just over a year ago, I did a Zoom with a woman from up in Lake Country because I lived in Lake Country in the Okanagan. And so did she. And we did a call together,
mhm.
sharing each of our businesses. And each of our businesses didn't resonate with each other. And that was fine. But we stayed in touch. And then all of a sudden last fall, she goes, we're kind of looking for a house sitter. Would you guys be interested in coming to Mexico and house sitting our house for 7 months? So, like, unbeknownst to you, you never know why someone's come into your field and you don't always know at the time.
Yeah,
And I guess I just want everyone to get more open to saying yes, more open to what could be. Because by every time you saying yes, you just open up to possibilities. And the universe will just bring you all the synchronicities and all the things in your life that will lead you to the desired state that you're even looking for. You have to be open to receive it. And I've just got so many of these kind of little things that happen in my daily life, whether it's small or big. Even my husband, I remember like the first week we're in Costa Rica, he's like, we really need a box. And then the very next story we went into, the woman goes, do you need a box? Like, it just was like, it can be small and big, but it's just so beautiful when when the universe provides.
yeah, and it's just so perfect the way it's like a somebody was saying, they were reflecting on they felt like they had taken steps back, and
Mm,
I said and I had provided the perspective that, no, life is a dance. Sometimes you take steps backwards, sometimes you take steps forward, and and I think it really landed with them that like, yeah, I was exactly where I was supposed to be. There was nothing wrong with it. And so everything is happening for us. That's a big piece that has
okay.
been landing with me too, is life isn't happening to us. It's for us to make us,
100%.
yeah,
Even when we think it doesn't look like something that could be happening for us. And me and my husband have, now that we know this, we embody actually this truth. Even when something happens in our day that wasn't to our liking,
yeah.
we know that it was still happening for us. And we've now gone back in our whole lives and been like, oh my goodness, remember when that? And we were up against, we couldn't sell our condo in Vancouver. Like, we would not sell, it would not sell. Oh my goodness, if it had, we would have ended up there and not in London like we were supposed to, where we had the most beautiful 7 years of raising our children in the most beautiful home that gave us the grounding and the foundation for the start of our growth. Like, if that had, like, everything would have been different. So we now go back through all these moments and see how it always worked out for us. And we've gotten so good at it. Like, so last August, we were evacuated from our house that we had just sold that needed to, we were 3 weeks packing everything up we owned, selling everything that we owned to to move. And a fire started right across the street. There was not even time for the fire department to knock on our doors. We basically just knocked on all our neighbors' doors. Everyone woke everybody up. It was 7 a.m. We had, we all had to, it was within 40 minutes, it was across the street. And we drove away from our house that morning with flames almost to engulf our house. That was the very thing we needed to continue on the path we had just built. And both Dave and I drove away and both said, well, if it burns to the ground, we know it's still happening for us.
Mm,
That meant that we'd have to find new jobs, a place to live. Like, it meant everything would have been very complicated. But yet we still knew that was happening for us. It didn't burn to the ground. They saved the units and everything. It was fabulous. But it is something to, even in the times of stress, to be able to have that outlook and to release what's going to happen. It
Yeah.
puts you in a different place receiving.
Mhm. And to look, like a lot of times people are so conditioned to look for the lack or the constant problems. But when you choose to see the gift in the lesson, when you choose
Mm-hmm.
to see the good in every situation, then that's what you attract in. And
Mm-hmm.
like there is so much information in the universe that like you remember those science experiments? I don't know if I actually got one to work well, but where you take a magnifying glass and then the power of the sun like lights something on fire through the magnifying
Yeah, never
glass.
worked for me either.
But that's what we are doing by choosing our focus. And
Mm-hmm.
like it lights us up by and starts this big fire in us when we focus our power. Whether you're choosing, because you are choosing to either focus on the lack and the negative, or you're choosing to see all the abundance, the good, and the gifts, you get more of what
Well,
it, yeah.
it is your point. Your thoughts are everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And sometimes I have to be a little easier on myself, because if they're in a negative state, I'll beat myself up. You know, you're doing, stop it, stop it. It's like, it can't always be in a place of also positivity. It
Yes,
can't.
because
I had to learn that lesson as well,
we are
right?
here to live a human experience. Human experience
Exactly.
come with human emotions. All of
Exactly.
them. All of them.
All of them. And anger and depression and sadness are all still part. It's about if we hold on to it and
Yes.
let it dictate the rest. But if we can allow ourselves to sit in it, so this has been a big one for me too, but to sit in the uncomfortability or the uncertainness, and like, even doing what we just did, there are times where I've gone, what the fuck did we just do? And gone into straight fear and doubt, right? Because I am still human and built in a world where having and owning a home and having that stability, and I've worked 9 to 5 my whole life,
Yeah.
and having that steady paycheck. So I've had to let go of a lot of self-worth when it came to bringing in a paycheck. Was I still worthy of receiving even when I wasn't going to a job? Because I'd started at 13. So that's been my life. And so it's every time these emotions come up, though, it's the sitting with them
Yeah.
and just allowing them to kind of process and kind of filter through you and see where it sits within your body. And then, well, what am I going to do about it? Am I going to release it? Am I going to reframe it? Am I going to look at it differently? And am I going to choose that it doesn't get to dictate how I spend the rest of my day or where my thoughts continue to go?
Mhm.
So like, it's really like ultimate awareness. When you become aware of your awareness of those moments, that's when you really tap into your power.
Yeah. My goodness. Just like so good. And we both knew that this conversation was going to be epic before we even like
Yeah,
we're doing it. We're just letting her roll and letting her fly because it's exactly what needs to come out.
exactly.
Mm.
I've gotten better at that too. I used to think before I speak. I'm now allowing what comes to me to flow through me before I think about it. And usually that's when I say what is exactly needed in that situation. And so trusting. I
Mhm.
used to think too, like that's also when we step into understanding who we are as souls, is channeling. Like we're all channeling.
Yeah.
Everyone's getting downloads all the time. It's just a matter if we listen to it. I
Mhm.
used to, because our logical mind will go, those are bad thoughts, those are negative thoughts, or that couldn't possibly be my higher self guiding me. And so our logical mind stops so many of these things from happening. But the
Mhm.
minute you realize it actually is you and your higher self, possibly your guides, your guardian angels,
Yep.
guiding you in that moment, and when you trust what's coming to your thoughts as actual guidance, it allows you to then also step into the daily flow of your life
Mm,
and to trust yourself more.
yes. Yeah. I think that's a big thing that prevents people from going deeper in this work is the
Mhm.
ability to trust yourself. And that's a lot of what like I coach my clients to do as well is like when you're connecting to your intuition, you have to trust what's coming up
Mhm.
and remember that it's coming for you. It's not coming to
Yes.
me, it's coming for you. You're having those thoughts for you.
Yeah. It's not what you say. It's not what your mom said. It's not what your kid said. Those don't matter because those will creep in and be like, but someone else said this. It's about us stopping looking outside of ourselves for external validation
Mhm.
and for external guidance, which is also, I think, the part of also like at one point, both me and my husband, so we've been on this, we've hired so many coaches over the years. We've done so much growth. And at one point, it just came to us that we're like, maybe it's time for us to step into our leadership.
Yeah.
Because there come a point where you can always just be a student. But it mean if you're not really then embodying it and moving it through your life and set and doing the work, because we all know we can sign up for things,
Yeah.
but are we doing the work of what is recommended? And we both know this from the mindset work we've done.
Yeah.
Unless you're truly shifting those paradigms to then work for you,
Mhm.
you can talk about it all you want, but you have to put it into play and you have to almost see the resistance show up each time so that you can finally start getting it out of your field so it doesn't run your life anymore.
Yeah.
And you have to do it over and over and over and over, and it can be exhausting, and you can be like, when will this end? Well, the truth is it never does,
Yeah.
because we're again just raising our consciousness.
And then the
But
whole cycle repeats itself again.
exactly, and then there's something new.
Yeah.
But that is the work, and I think that we always need to be up leveling and finding people that help us get to our next up level. And lately too, I found a quote that I just loved, because being a leader doesn't mean you have a lot of followers. It just means you go first.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean about the dam. Like, we all need to start, because you don't know who's behind you that also needs you to start so that they can start. So then the people behind them can start. We all just, and then we just got to keep the momentum moving forward for all of us becoming who we authentically are, which is really who we've always been from the beginning.
Yeah.
We just had so much, the current world tells us that we're supposed to be certain things.
Yeah. We're supposed
So a
to.
lot of times at our ages, we're now unshedding all these masks and all these things that we were told we were supposed to be. It was just basically becoming who we always were.
Mhm. Yeah. We put all this mass and crap on to take it all off again and be like, wait, I'm beautiful just as me.
Yeah. Yeah. And also not doing, like, another thing for us was things you think you should do.
Mhm.
When we stopped doing things in life that we thought we should do, like, so anytime things came up, when you've got a yes or no in front of you, is this something you should be doing or something you really want to do? Which is, again, which you're helping people with, listening to their intuition.
Yeah.
Because your guide, your gut, your higher self will tell you in that moment if it's something that you want to do.
Mhm.
And then you have more energy to create what you really want and how you really want to live in a day. And so those are some tough decisions. I've lost a lot of people in my life
Mhm.
because I stopped playing the role that they needed me to be. And so as I became myself, they were then uncomfortable. And so I either had to put my mask back on and make them comfortable,
Yeah.
or choose to step into who I truly was and allow them to lead my life. And there's pain in that when you've got 30-year friendships.
Yeah.
It makes you think maybe you're a bad person for choosing yourself. But I do think that all of us need to get to a place that we realize that actually is the most important thing, is choosing ourselves. And ever since I've done that, I have more energy and more power to also give to myself and to my family
Yeah.
and to serve humanity.
Well, and that's what they say, in the airplane, right? Put your own oxygen mask on first. And
Mm-hmm.
like it almost, we're taught that it seems counterintuitive, but we can't give what we don't have. And if we don't have a full cup, or we're constantly running from a burnt out state, then those in our immediate circle, like our kids and our family, they suffer as a result. And then
Mm-hmm.
almost stunts that ripple effect,
Yeah,
because they're not given the proper tools to shine their light, and it
exactly.
creates the dam that you talk about over and over again.
Yeah, because then they learn that. They're like, well, I'm not supposed to put myself first.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to put others first before myself and just be exhausted or get pulled around through this thing of life where I'm never once in charge. And that's the whole, back to being a conscious creator, having awareness throughout your day of how you feel energetically, and then where you spend your thoughts is that point of attraction that will bring more of like for like, right? So if you think of what you don't have, more of what you don't have happens. If you keep thinking of how sick you are, you will continue to be sick. It's just, it's law. It's how the universe works. There's no other way around it. And
Mhm.
so if you can reprogram your subconscious and be aware of those thoughts to using the affirmations and using the words to what you want. I mean, I can look back through all my journals the last couple of years. I just had to do this because I can't carry around 5 journals with me when you're traveling around the country. So I finally had to go through them and get rid of them, but it's like weird. It's like I don't want to.
Yeah.
I saw you burn yours and I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that looks so freeing. That looks so
Yeah.
good.
Because like, to me, those journals represented like my low thoughts on myself and not believing in myself, and like attempting to do better but not fully trusting and playing all in that, like I've got my back no matter what. And I'm like, no, like her dreams are still fantastic and all that, but all that came with it, there was shame in there, and I'm like, nope, this has to go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what came to me too, which was interesting to why I realized. So, in all my present tense daily gratitude, I am so happy and grateful now that I help serve others become, find out how powerful they are and their purpose and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, so I've already been saying that I was planning on helping others this whole time without realizing that that was part of the plan all along.
Yeah.
And yet it was almost in every single one of my entries in the last year. So it's just, it's so interesting, I think, sometimes what you attract in. I also, in all my gratitude every day, I talk about how healthy my family is. I
Hmm.
really talk about health. I talk about happiness. I talk about thriving. Um, and to be honest, our family is extremely healthy. Like Dave and I, like, so we did catch something when we were in Mexico City. It was a bit of an adjustment with the water, I think. But before that, we haven't had caught anything in like a year and a half. Like like the whole family has been extremely healthy, even though I've got physical ailments that I know I need to look at and haven't had a moment. But again, if I don't put my thoughts on it, it seems to just be working out okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And I'll get to it when I need to and try not to make it bigger than it is. But also, we had the Healy with us as well, which has been it was very empowering to have, in a way, your own little practitioner with you. So as we traveled, because I did buy a healthcare package, but if many of the locations we were at, it would take an hour to get anywhere. And
Right.
even then, you're not speaking the same language. So Healy really empowered our health that if something did feel off with any of us, I was able to do a scan and see what came up. I hurt myself surfing, so I used the bone and joint program on my knee because I wasn't able to walk. And luckily, after a few times of using it, I was able to walk again. So that was
Oh,
helpful.
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's also our beliefs about, so I guess I say health because that's been one for me that I've had no attachment with.
Yeah.
So it's like when you just know it to be true.
Yeah.
So anything in our lives that, like, you know what I mean? We manifest the easy things that we have no
Yeah.
attachment to. The things that struggle to not come to us, usually we have an attachment to the outcome.
The
But when
path
you
of
have
least
no attachment,
resistance.
it just is.
Yeah.
What?
Path of least resistance.
Yeah.
That's where it comes. Yeah. 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 So good. So good. So, where can people find more about what you're up to, connect to you? Where's the best source? We will link it like all in the show notes
Oh,
below.
amazing. Amazing, amazing. Usually Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm finally going on TikTok and deciding to be braver with what comes out of me. But Instagram's usually where I am. So it's Celeste Pennington 2 is my handle. And that's been a beautiful place to be. I live in my DMs. I have so many friendships and people that I know I could count on in there.
Yeah.
And it's a beautiful place to be. The people that have been with me on my journey and the people that reach out and people that just the words of encouragement that we all give each other
Yeah.
who comes into our orbit. It's been a beautiful thing. Instagram really is the best. Or if you have any questions at all of what I could offer, you can email me as well. That's fine. Or even on WhatsApp, I can give you my phone number. And also, WhatsApp is a huge international way of communicating with people. It's pretty
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. It's like we have it for like all the kids' sports and team chats
Oh,
and
really?
all the things. Yeah. So, oh, so thank you so much for coming on. This was beautiful as always. And if you are interested in learning more about Celeste and what she channels and is bringing to this new world, honestly, you guys follow her because her feed is absolutely gorgeous and she has the most inspiring messages. So check her out. Oh,
Thank you, Leslie.
thank you so much for
Thank you.
coming on.
I'm just so glad we've come in each other's orbit. It's so crazy how that works, right?
I know, and
How we
we
got connected and
like it. I was looking at the calendar. It's like almost been a year since we
yeah.
got connected.
And you
Like,
know how that works. That was a yes. That
yeah,
was you having an intuitive hit to Healy at the time where you're
yeah,
like, I don't know what I'm saying yes to. This just feels right. You're
yeah.
like,
It
I'm
was,
just going to say,
yeah,
and then we connected and we're like, and we resonated immediately.
yeah,
And it was just, we've been talking ever since and staying in touch. And I've loved watching, like, because then didn't you sign up with mindset, with thinking into
yeah,
results?
yeah,
And like, you've just been up leveling and like,
yeah.
you know, we're here to shift timelines. And
Absolutely.
it's
Yeah,
just so, I don't know. It's been fun. Look at how, where both of us have come in a year. It's
yeah.
incredible.
It's absolutely insane, and it's one of those like friendships. I think feel like for you and I that like we can not talk for a little bit, but then pick up like as if we haven't even missed a beat.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
there's no effort, there's no
Yes.
like it's just
It
effortless.
just made me think, actually, sorry, I just got chills. It makes me realize that actually those are our hearts connected. Like
Yeah,
that's just, you know what I mean? Like those
yeah,
are just our hearts connected. And I feel that with you whenever you hear from me or I hear from you. It just, as you said, it just feels so easy.
yeah.
Isn't it easy? It's
It
so
is.
easy every time.
Oh,
I know. Ah. This is what life can be. This is what life can be for everybody. This is possible for everybody. I
Mhm.
want everybody to live their life that they want. It doesn't have to look like yours, and it doesn't have to look like mine. It just has to look like the life that you want. Whatever that is, simple or big,
Yeah.
luxurious, or like, it doesn't matter, but you can have whatever you want. And I want that for everybody, to know that abundance truly is your birthright,
Yep.
in whatever that means for you.
Exactly. And
Mm,
if you get anything else besides that little mic drop there, stop damming up your light. Let your light and your gifts shine, because somebody specifically needs your gift. They need my
they
gift.
do.
They need Celeste's gift. They also need yours. So,
They do.
yeah,
And we need all of us co-creating
yeah.
this new earth together. We do this together.
Mm, it just feels right. It feels home and good and
Mhm.
yeah.
You know, so
Thank
much
you.
love to you, friend.
Yes, you too. Thank you so much for tuning in, everybody, and we will see you all. Oh, maybe there's my mouse. There we go. Next week.